Once upon a time there was a village nestled between rolling hills. It was a gloomy place, always shrouded in fog. The villagers rarely smiled. They kept to themselves. In the heart of this village lived a grumpy old lantern maker named Mr. Grimble. He made lanterns, but even his lanterns seemed to hold the gloom of the village. Mr. Grimble grumbled as he worked. "Another gloomy day," he mumbled to himself. "Another gloomy lantern." He dipped a wick in wax, his face a picture of discontent. No one ever visited him. No one ever smiled at him. He was as lonely as the flickering flame of a single candle. One day, while cleaning his cluttered workshop, Mr. Grimble stumbled upon something unusual. It was a lantern, hidden behind cobwebs and dust. But this lantern was different. It had a faint, warm glow, unlike any he had ever seen. Mr. Grimble cautiously picked up the lantern. It was lighter than he expected, and the metal felt strangely warm beneath his fingertips. He blew off the dust, revealing intricate carvings on its surface. The faint glow seemed to pulse gently, like a heartbeat. Mr. Grimble muttered, intrigued. He had never seen a lantern like this before. It was so simple, yet so captivating. He hung it up in his workshop, hoping it might brighten the place a bit. But the lantern remained dim, its glow barely noticeable. Mr. Grimble shrugged and went back to work. But he couldn't shake off the feeling that there was something special about the mysterious lantern. He found himself glancing at it often, hoping to see a change in its dim light. Later that day, a little girl named Lily came running past Mr. Grimble's shop. She was crying. Mr. Grimble frowned, ready to shoo her away. But then he saw she had tripped and fallen. Her basket lay on the ground, its contents scattered. Mr. Grimble surprised himself by stepping outside. He helped Lily to her feet and gathered her belongings. There, little one," he mumbled awkwardly, feeling quite out of his element. To his astonishment, Lily gave him a watery smile and thanked him. As Lily skipped away, Mr. Grimble noticed something peculiar. The lantern in his workshop was glowing brighter. It was still a soft glow, but definitely brighter than before. Could it be related to him helping Lily? Intrigued, Mr. Grimble decided to experiment. He baked an extra loaf of bread and gave it to Old Man Hemlock, who lived alone and often forgot to eat. The lantern glowed even brighter. He fixed Mrs. Willow's wobbly fence, and the lantern pulsed with a warm, comforting light. Word spread about Mr. Grimble's newfound kindness. Children who used to be scared of the grumpy old man started visiting him. He would tell them stories, and their laughter filled the workshop, making the lantern shine like a beacon. Mr. Grimble didn't grumble anymore. He smiled. He had discovered the secret of the lantern. It glowed brighter with every act of kindness. One evening, as the village basked in the warm glow of the lantern, Mr. Grimble noticed something was wrong. The lantern was gone. He searched high and low but couldn't find it. Then he saw footprints leading out of his workshop, footprints he recognized as belonging to young Timmy, a mischievous boy from the village. Mr. Grimble was furious. He found Timmy hiding behind the well, clutching the lantern. The lantern's light was faint, almost extinguished. "Timmy, why did you take this?" Mr. Grimble asked, his voice trembling with anger. Timmy looked down, ashamed. I wanted the light for myself," he mumbled. "But it's not working." He looked up at Mr. Grimble with tear-filled eyes. "It's getting dimmer." Mr. Grimble realized something important. The lantern wasn't Timmy's to take, but it wasn't his either. It belonged to everyone. He took a deep breath and softened his tone. "Timmy, this lantern is special. Its light doesn't belong to one person. It shines brightest when we share it, when we are kind to each other." Timmy looked up, understanding dawning on his face. Mr. Grimble, holding the lantern high, led the villagers to the darkest street in the village, a place even the moonlight couldn't reach. As they walked, Mr. Grimble shared stories of kindness, of small acts that made a big difference. With each story, the lantern glowed brighter, casting its warm light further and further. Soon the entire street was bathed in its magical glow. The villagers, who had never gathered in this dark place before, looked at each other in a new light. They saw not strangers but neighbors. They began to share stories of their own, small acts of kindness they had witnessed or experienced. From that day on, the village was no longer shrouded in gloom. The lantern, hanging in the center of the village square, became a symbol of their shared kindness. It reminded them that even the smallest act of generosity could light up the world, one kind deed at a time. And Mr. Grimble, the once grumpy lantern maker, became known as Mr. Grimble the Kind, a testament to the power of a single magical lantern.